Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, I see you can't hear me. That's all right. We're about to get started. Yes. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. I do have my guest in the house. Believe it or not, my guest is in the room. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me, Trobin? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Yes. Thumbs up, hearts up. Let me know whether or not you can hear me. Good evening, Jennifer. Can you hear me now? Yes. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. Send me some hearts. Yes. Let me know whether or not you can hear me, please. Good, 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 good. Thank you, thank you. Hey Rose, good evening, good evening. My guest is in the house tonight. I was trying to start a little bit differently, but listen, it's okay. We're gonna go ahead on and we're gonna get started. Yes, I have my guest with me tonight. Woo! I'm so excited that my friend and sister is with us tonight. What an amazing story, Lynette. Thomas is going to be my dear sister, my blood sister. Audrey, so glad you're here with me tonight. Deacon Gregory Head, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Y'all come on in while we're getting ready. Just go ahead on and share this out. It's going to be good. I'm telling y'all, I know it's going to be good. All right. It's going to be a blessing to us all. I'm looking forward to what the Lord is going to share with us through this young woman that is with us tonight. So let's just go ahead on and let's just break this hollow ground up. All right. Yes. Good evening, Aisha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yes. Can you all hear Aisha okay? Let me know. Send some hearts up. Yes. Can you hear her? If you can hear her, let me know. Sounds good to me. But listen, Aisha, thank you so much for taking time out of your really, really busy schedule today and hanging out with us here for a few minutes and sharing this amazing story. We are on our last individual session for this month. Women who rise to soar. And that only means women who reach and inspire somebody else to soar to their next in God. All right. So let's go ahead on. Let's just dive right on into it. So Aisha, why don't you go ahead on and tell us who is Aisha Sanders? Who is she?
All right. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but to kind of just go back to it, I am Aisha. Professionally, I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. I work as a clinical director at a facility that services youth with eating disorders. But in my real life, I'm a mother. I'm an auntie. I'm God's daughter. But I'm also broken. But I'm healed. I'm confident, but I'm insecure. I'm strong, but sometimes I can be weak. And the beauty in all of that is that all of those things can exist together. Like I wouldn't be Aisha Sanders if I was not all of those things.
Well, I've never really heard people describe themselves much as I'm 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 God's child, but I'm broken. And I'm healed at the same time. I'm broken, but I'm healed all at the same time. Can you just describe for us and tell us what does that mean for the listening audience? What do you mean you are healed but broken?
It means that there are different facets. We all have different facets of our lives. And so in some areas of my life, I've come through a different space and I have been able to be healed. But I'm still broken in other areas. I still
Mm-hmm.
have things that can trigger me or activate uncomfortable feelings
Mm.
in some areas. But in some areas, I'm just at a different space. And so I can be broken and healed. Um, I can be confident, but still feel insecure in some areas. It just depends. And again, all of those things can coexist.
So that makes us we're still whole,
We're
is what you're
still
saying.
whole. We're
You're still
still
whole.
we're always a work in progress.
Well, and that's true because that's what the Bible means when it says to sanctify yourselves
Hmm.
and be holy, because the Lord understood that it would be a process. And so that's why we have to, I believe, we have to um, accept our process towards healing. And
Yeah.
that's what I really love about, your journey. And so I want to ask you this then, Renice Scott Allen, thank you for joining us.
Hey,
What
Twin.
yes, yes. What does it mean? She said, Lynette says, thank you for the transparency. What does it mean? What makes Aisha strong? And is there ever a time in your life during your journey where you said, "Good evening, welcome back, Miss Yvette"? You said you were coming back tonight. Yes. Um, that you said, I'm just tired of being strong. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, yeah. So when I do feel moments of weakness, I'm always reminded of the scripture that says God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. And so God's strength is what keeps me strong. I do know that I don't have to take it all on. That's in the spiritual, right? I have internal motivation. Like there are things that I've set out, goals that I have, things
Yeah.
that I know that I need to do for myself, for my family, for ministry, for the world, right?
Mhm.
Those are my internal motivators. My external motivators are like my kids. Like, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later, but everything that I do is for them. And when I say my kids, I'm talking about my nieces and my nephews and my own boys, because they watch you and they watch how you go through things. I think a lot of times as parents, we try to prevent our children from seeing the hurt or the pain when really that's what's helping them learn those coping skills. They watch you, they see how you cope, and then they then model behind your behaviors. Um,
Wow.
but when we talk about like what does that look like? Yeah, we've all been tired. Um, being tired of being strong looks like crying, looks like isolation, looks
Mm.
like accommodation. It looks like just the overcompensating or the over traumatic response of I'm fine. Like always saying I'm fine and being overly independent is a trauma response.
Mm.
And so like being tired of being strong all the time looks like hurt and sadness. It looks like I continue to do what I think is right and I'm just not getting the results that I need. I'm tired of being the leader at work and I have to watch what I say and watch what I do when people get to talk to me any kind of way.
Mm.
It's all of that.
Wow. Thank you for joining us, Bettina and Mary and Cassandra. Thank you all for joining in with us on this evening. I have my very special friend with us. Yes, good evening, good evening, good evening. Very special friend of mine, a powerful young woman who I saw go through just a little bit. Just like I haven't seen her go through a whole lot, but that I saw was enough to say, okay, let me reach out to her because I know that her story can help somebody else. And I believe that. So Aisha, I heard you, and I'm going to go to this question. Now, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that you are a licensed clinical professional,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
However, before you got to that point, and I know that you and I were teaching together at that time, and I remember the hours that you were studying so that you could pass this, yeah, get your LCPC. I think that's what it's called, right? Before that process, you were simply Aisha with a degree in psychology. That was a teacher professional at the college where we were teaching as adjunct professors. Did, and if I got that wrong, you can correct me. Did the definition of pain change or did it remain the same? Why or why not? Did the definition, just because now I'm a clinical professional, did the definition for you of pain, did it change or did it remain the same?
Mm-hmm. So pain, and I talk with my hands a lot, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do like this.
No, just be
Okay.
yourself.
Pain is defined as a physical suffering or discomfort caused by illness or injury. Um, that's the definition of pain, right? So
Mhm.
pain is caused by an action or an event. Let's just say it's unavoidable. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't avoid getting hit by a car. You can't avoid somebody hits you and it hurts. Like that's physical pain. So when we think about pain, we think about physical suffering. But suffering, defined, is the state, and I think put a pin there, mental state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. Mental state. Who controls our mental state?
Mm,
We do.
my God.
Pain is not necessarily unavoidable. Suffering is a choice.
Mm,
We choose, again, Charles Swindoll said it. Life is 10% of what happens to us, 90% of how we react to it. 90% of how much I am going to allow this situation, this action, this pain, this hurt, this person, this relationship, how much am I going to allow that to impact my mental state
mm-hmm.
is how much we allow ourselves to suffer. A lot of times we displace or we say that someone else did this to us, they may have done this to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the pain, that's the unavoidable. But suffering is something that you totally have a choice over. How long
Wow.
am I going to allow this suffering, this emotional state to overtake me?
Wow. That's good. I mean, did you all understand that? Like, suffering is a choice. Pain, we really have no control over, I guess.
You think about it. When you go to the hospital, they don't say we're going to manage your suffering. No, we're going to give you
No.
some. We're going to give you some medication. We're going to manage your pain. Pain management. It can be managed. Suffering, you manage. You control.
Wow. Wow. That's good. Oh my goodness. Did y'all know that? Did y'all understand what she was saying? And please, everybody, feel free. If you have questions, I know I see the wows. I'm saying wow too. Um, you know, because I hadn't really thought of it, like that. I don't know about you, but I really haven't thought of it that way. Um, yeah, Jennifer say that's the truth. My goodness. So Miss Aisha, did you before becoming a professional yourself? Did you seek professional help um, to deal with your pain? And if you did, how has that impacted your life?
Yeah, yeah. And my family jokes about it, and it's a joke now, and it's funny now because I'm still here, right?
Uh-huh.
But when I was 12 years old, I was shot. I was a
Right.
victim of random gang violence,
Yes.
and I was shot less than half an inch away from my spine. The
Mm-hmm.
bullet went in the back, it curved, and it came out the side. And when I got to the hospital, they rushed me there. The doctor's like, "Oh my God, it's a miracle. You should have been dead. Like, we don't even know how you are here, right?" Because
Mm.
it hit less than half an inch away from my spine.
Wow.
Because of that, naturally, my parents was like, she needs to go to therapy. I don't know why they thought that, right? So I went to therapy a couple of sessions. And even at that age, with my father being a pastor and always being in church, I realized like purpose. Like there's purpose. Like you're still here for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw how much of an impact, like I did not talk. And if you know me, you know. But I did not, after being shot, I did not talk for days. Um, but working with that therapist really helped me get back to a good place.
Yeah.
Um, I had already been like doing different things and daycares and different things like that, but that's really what caused me. Um, that's really what made me realize that I needed to be a therapist or be a helper. Like I knew I was going to be in the helping field, and I originally thought I was going to be a teacher. And I was like, nope. I took that one psychology class, and I've not turned back since. Like if I could do it all over again, I would. I enjoy being able to help people in any capacity. Anybody that knows me, whether it's doing therapy or cleaning up or serving or making meals, might not be great meals, but I'll make them, right? Like, I have a server's heart, and I think that's all because of just realizing that my purpose on this earth is to help.
And you guys, she's not kidding you. When I tell you she's a helper, she has one of the I sometimes I when I used to hang around her, when we used to hang around each other together, I used to say, girl, just get you some rest. Just go sit down. Hey, that pot trying to call the kettle black, of course. Um, I would just always see her spending time doing with children, just being with children, children, wanting to do things to help somebody else. If we put together something at work, you gotta know her hand's gonna be on it, right? But she said something that I don't know if many of you all just caught. But Aisha is a preacher's kid. Her father is a very prominent pastor here in the city of Chicago, who happens to be a friend to me. I can't say he's a friend of mine because I don't run with him or anything, but he's a friend to me. And so I just want to hear Aisha. Lynette said you got the ministry of helps. Yes, she does. And Renice said, that's the truth. Your heart is so pure. And then she does. Aisha has a very pure heart. And I declare this is not about me tonight. This is about her. So, Aisha, did the pain that you experienced, did it help you to grow into or grow out of something? Or perhaps both? And what does that look like? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna say both, right? And
Okay.
I'm gonna break it down a little bit because it helped me grow into living life. Um, I've always been, or I had always been, concerned about, especially growing up as a pastor's kid, what people would think, what people would say. Me being pregnant at 17, everybody had something to say about it, and so I was always concerned about what people would say, what people would think, what people would say. And so I finally had to grow out of that. I grew out of people's thoughts and I
Mm.
grew into living a life that's going to make me happy at the end, whatever that looks like. When you think about the five regrets of, people when they die, it's one of them is like, I wish I had lived a life that made me happy.
Mm.
I grew out of some insecurities and I grew into some confidence. Um, not again being so worried about what people thought about me. I grew out of over apologizing and being over accommodating,
Mm.
and I grew into setting boundaries and respecting people's boundaries.
Wow.
Um, I grew out of explaining or overthinking. Overthinking has been huge, and that's something I'm still working on, right?
Yeah.
But that overthinking causes you to speak outside of what the reality is sometimes. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but when you're in your thoughts so much, I don't think that sometimes we realize that our perception is not always reality because our perception is distorted. Our perception comes from past experiences. And
Mm.
so me and you can look at the same thing and have two completely different views because of our own past experiences. And so it causes us to overthink, which also then causes us to speak outside of our body sometimes. The
Ugh.
pain of the overthinking has caused me to try to grow out of it and grow into being a little slower to speak and realizing that, hey, what I think is happening may not be happening.
Mm.
But even in the pain, one of the things that I'm still learning, so in my effort to not feel like I'm different or better, right? I've always I've tried to remain humble. But there is a difference between remaining humble and understanding that there's nothing that I have that God didn't bless me with. And there are some people that are not on my level.
Wow.
And I can be okay with that. I can be okay with understanding that everywhere that God is planted for me to go or has called me to go, all my friends can't go. There are going to be people in your lives. We get frustrated because we try to bring everybody up with us. You know, it's like reach as you climb, right?
Yeah.
But everybody can't go where you're supposed to go. Some people are supposed to work at McDonald's. Some people are supposed to work at Walgreens. Some people are supposed to sit at the table with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Everybody is not supposed to be where you are. And I think in my pain, I realized that I'm going to have to leave some people behind.
Ooh. Wow.
I've learned in pain that everybody doesn't deserve your time or your energy, your explanation, your return text, your answered phone call, an invitation. Like everybody doesn't deserve that.
Can you say that again? They don't deserve your time.
They don't deserve your time, your energy, your explanation, a return text, an answered phone call, or
Woo.
invitation.
Whoa.
Pain will teach you that.
Ooh.
Pain will also teach you that people make time for the things and people they want to make time for. Adjust yourself accordingly.
Wow. Ooh, did y'all hear that? Cassandra, man, these folks saying, wow, my God. Listen, I was trying to type it so I can put it out there. You say they don't deserve your time, your energy, your explanation, a return text, answered phone call, or your invitation. My God, today. Woo, Lord Jesus Christ. Let me see what these folks saying here. Cassandra said, that's right. Miss Polk, Yvette said that, yes. Jennifer said, thank you for being real. Oh, my God. Thank you for joining in, Minister Gloria. Wow. Oh, my God. Who is that? She said, and maintain boundaries. Bettina said, speak. My God. Trobin said, I hope I'm saying that right. Is that right? Trobin? Aisha, Trobin Angels.
It's Tamika.
That's Tamika. T. Robin Angels. Tamika, okay. She said, you speaking the truth. Good evening, Evangelist Taylor. Thank you for joining us this evening. My God, Aisha just said a whole year full of stuff. Cassandra said, can't give my energy to negativity and things that drain me.
Yeah.
But like you said, that pain will teach you that. And then I like what you said about not everybody can go up when you go up. Yeah. Some people are supposed to work at McDonald's, right? While others are to meet with CEOs and different things. Bettina said, she said, please say it louder for the people in the back. Please say it louder for people in the back. Listen, what a powerful word she says. But Cassandra reminded me of a saying that Bishop T.D. Jakes has, and that is, Bettina, I'm sorry, Benita, I don't know why you're having trouble getting in here. She's gone again. But she said, the giraffes, and you ain't got no business hanging down there with the, whatever that animal is, she said, you up here with the giraffes.
Yeah.
Ain't no use in you going down there.
I saw a meme that says something like, when a turtle gives a giraffe feedback, it's coming from the level that they're on.
Oh,
I saw it the other day.
Wait a minute. I got to, when a
turtle gives a giraffe feedback, it's coming from the level that they're on. So when you think about the relation between a turtle and a giraffe, why am I even listening to people that's not on my level?
Oh,
and that's it sounds harsh when you really have a humble spirit. You don't want to feel like you are on a different, but it's the truth.
It is the truth.
What do you have? What feedback can you possibly have when you're not on my level?
Wow. Yeah, Cassandra had put it in there about the giraffes and the turtles. Yeah. Look, when a turtle gives a giraffe feedback, it's coming from a level they're on.
Right.
So why you, as someone who's a turtle, and Aisha is just saying that pain would teach us that. Minister Brown say it, say that. Um, so Aisha, um, Fantasia got a song that says, sometimes you have to lose to win again.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. First of all, do you agree with that statement? And then secondly of all, have you ever gone through a period in your life where losing some things, and I think you just said a little bit just a second ago, but losing some things created the winner that you consider yourself to be today?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. Um, and even in losing, it's looking at it as an opportunity for something greater, right? Um, and just a little bit, my personal, I lost a house, my first house. I bought my first house in 2011 in the middle of grad school. Um, no, yes, I bought my house in 2007. I lost my house in 2011.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was living in Indiana. They foreclosed on my house. I locked the door, left the keys, and walked away. It was hard, right?
Yeah.
But in 2018, that house was a 2-bedroom. It was a townhouse. It had 2 bedrooms, a bathroom and a half. But 7 years later,
Seven
in
years later.
2018, God blessed me. Y'all can't see all the house. I tried to shift the clothes out the back of the way so y'all can see. But God blessed me with the 6-bedroom,
Yes,
3
he did.
full bathroom house.
Yes, he did.
7 years later.
7
I had to
years
lose
later.
that first house so that I could win. In 2014, the doctors told me I would never get pregnant again. They told me I had PCOS and it just wasn't going to happen. And I decided that I was going to go about my own way. And around 2017, I started, fertility treatments. I started artificial insemination. I was spending thousands of dollars every month on like sperm and medication and all those other things. I went through 10 rounds of artificial insemination and nothing, nothing, nothing. But in 2019, I ain't gonna tell y'all the whole story.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna tell y'all the whole story. But in 2019, God blessed me with a baby naturally. No pills, no medication, no. And I remember, and I was telling Ann yesterday that when we talk about being tired of being strong, in July, I cried. I used to be so depressed about not being able to have kids because, as Ann said, I love kids. Kids are my heart. If you see me, you see kids. I cried out to the Lord. I said, Lord, you have to take the desire away. I cannot go another month not being able to have a kid. Like, I cannot do it. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And that was the month that my little baby was a blessing. Like, that's when he was conceived. And that was 15 years of infertility from 2004 to 2019. And God blessed me. This is a little bit of a difference. I poured myself into a job for 6 years to then get fired, coming back from maternity leave. 6 years of my life, poured everything I had, even to being pregnant, high risk, working long hours.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But now I'm at a place where they're like, oh, you don't like your commute? Let's figure out how you can work half day so that your commute home is not so bad. It's a difference. It's a difference. And so, yes, but I think we also have to be okay with letting go of the old so that we can receive the new, whatever the new is. We have to be okay with losing. We got to be okay with taking that L so that we can win. I appreciate the losses because the losses give me a story. The losses give me a story to share and gives me, like, it's the hope. It's God's promise. That's why anytime you see me on Facebook and I post something about my little baby, it's going to say hashtag an answered prayer, hashtag a promise kept. Like, you don't know the pain.
Yeah. Man, what she didn't tell y'all, though, let me just tell y'all what she didn't say. Yes, Cassandra say, won't he make it up to you? Yes, he will. And Minister Brown said, Praise God. Look what he can do with the impossible. And Renice, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the
Yes.
words of our testimonies. Amen. Yes, God. Lynette, in Romans 8:28. That listen, let me tell you, what Aisha didn't tell you all was that her son, the baby son, and the oldest son are 19 years apart. She didn't tell y'all that. Yes, the infertility lasted for 15 years, but Xavier now has a little brother called Zane. So she has a 19, well, he'll be 20,
He'll
right?
be 21.
That's right. He'll be 21 in what, October?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be 21 in October. So she got two beautiful young men, well, a little boy and a young man in her life right now. And when I tell you an example of a great mom, my God, I don't know, I didn't desire to have any more after I was done. But bless her, yes, yes, Minister Brown, they're 19 years apart, okay? Okay, 19 years, all right. And she prayed for, she really was, like she said, she was paying thousands of dollars a month for infertility. Now you know it's gotta be, she had gotten to a point where that stuff wasn't working. And you know why? Because it wasn't the will of God.
Yeah.
All right. When you began to examine your life, let's see here. You are a preacher's kid, wonderful pastor, dad. You're a mom to two amazing sons. You just talked a little bit about that. You're an accomplished professional. You're a businesswoman. Um, can you tell us a little bit about how Creating Me came about? Because I remember when you started out with the concept,
Yes.
sitting there in that desk.
Yes.
But anyway, go ahead and talk about it.
So, Creating Me stands for Community Resources Enabling Actualization and Teaching Empowerment in Me. And there is an ellipsis behind that, which represents whatever it is that you need, you can come here and get fulfilled. Um, I was in grad school, and grad school took me longer because I had a kid. And so I had to work full time and go to grad school. So what grad school should have taken me 2 to 3 years, I had to do all of my classes. And my last year was all of my internship and practicum. I didn't have any classes. I was due to graduate in June. I went to the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, which is a predominantly white school. I was most of the time the only African American in the class. In April of 2009, the same time I was trying to buy my house, it was a lot of difficulty. I was having it was a lot of stuff going on, and my grandmother had just passed. They tried to kick me out of school. They tried to say, hey, you are not the model student. So you need to sit before the board and tell us why you deserve, after 3 years, 4 really, to graduate. I was standing in my house, and the Lord had already given me the vision of Creating Me, but I couldn't put it all together. And when this pain point came, he automatically gave me not only the name, but the acronym. And I used that to write a letter to the Student Affairs Committee to say, this is what's happening. And all the things that I've been through that you all are saying are a weakness, me being a single mother, me working, me buying a house during grad school, all of these things that you all are pointing out to me as being barriers to me being able to graduate, which is one stepping stone, is really what is going to pivot me into my business, which is beyond this stepping stone. Like this graduating is a piece of it, but it's not the bigger picture. And I used all of that, and I put it in a letter to the Student Affairs Committee. And I remember when I was getting ready to go and sit before the board, one of the ladies said, I have never read a letter like that before. They
Wow.
were in tears as I sat and told them my story.
Wow.
But again, going back to being a helper, like I just know that there is work to be done. And as I look at my life and the things that I know that I want to continue to do, that is one of the things that I strive for, is to really build, creating me up into being what I know it's supposed to be.
Wow. You struck an emotion talking about that letter, and and that's why this platform to me is so important, because there are so many strong women who look like me, who go through various things in our lives. The struggle for us, um, sometimes they're often challenging. But when I see women like yourself and other women that have come to this platform talk about how they overcame and how they rose from, and I like that word that you and Teresa used, the pain point. When you look back at that pain point, Aisha, and that pain point served for you as a springboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk about that springboard, that how we sometimes have to visit and or revisit our pain points.
Yeah.
It's just a, yeah. Go ahead. Just talk a little bit about that. Why we, you know, how does that help us grow out of or into or out of into?
Yeah. I mean, I think it really is just us remembering the end goal, the end game. When you think about the 7 habits of highly effective people, beginning with the end in mind, right?
Yes.
This
Mm-hmm.
is where I'm trying to be. This is where I need to be, where I want to be. There's going to be obstacles in a way, right? You're not going to get through this life without experiencing some type of pain and suffering. But
Yeah.
you have to use that pain to pivot you to where you're supposed to be. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay
As,
to not be okay.
it's okay to not be okay. As women, we feel, again, it is the idea of being independent and overly independent is a trauma response. It is,
Yes.
I don't want to have to ask anybody for help because I don't want to have to say that anybody helped me, or I don't want to be vulnerable enough to ask someone to help and then they don't help me. And now I feel like I've made myself open, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to get through this life without experiencing any type of pain. And on your way to where you're going, it's okay to stop. It's okay to pause. It's not okay to give up.
Wow.
It's okay to sit in that emotion. We all have days where you just don't want to get out of bed. You just want to cry. You just want to yell. And that's okay. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a loser. It makes you human.
Mm.
People hear the word trigger and they're like, oh, I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered. The beauty in triggers is that means that you can acknowledge a hurt that you feel, use that, heal, and keep moving.
Wow.
You got to use that. A trigger is an unaddressed emotional issue or concern. And so if you feel triggered, that means you are in tune with whatever is bothering you. Figure it out, keep it moving, but don't allow feelings and emotions stop you from getting to where you need to go. Feel it, experience it, be in it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. If you need to take a day and eat ice cream and binge watch Manifest, then watch it and then keep going,
But don't quit.
but don't quit. You can stop, you can pause, but don't quit. It is extremely important, thank you, to know your triggers, right?
Yes.
Because we have these underlying emotions, right? No,
Yeah.
let me go back. Think about a tree. Everybody envision a tree.
Mm-hmm.
What you see above the ground is what we call behavioral markers. That
Mm.
might be isolation, it might be um, accommodation, it might be um, it could be anger, it could be defensiveness, Like all of these things are the behavioral markers that we show. But underneath, when you think about a tree, underneath the ground is the roots that you don't see. So, what are the underlying emotions that are causing these other things to show? But what happens is something triggers you, something triggers those underlying emotions, and then these behavioral markers start showing.
Mm.
So if you don't know the triggers, then you can't control your emotions, and your emotions will make you behave in a way that means feels like you're stepping outside of your body, or this is just what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. I had somebody tell me that she was talking to a guy, and he said something about her not being a great mother,
Mm.
and she got upset and defensive. Defensiveness was her behavioral marker,
Got
right?
it.
I said, but what was the underlying emotion behind your defensiveness, behind his comment? She said, because I should have never been a single mother in the first place. Her
Mm.
defensiveness, which is what we saw, or what he saw, or what she saw, came from the underlying emotion of shame that she
Mm.
felt behind being a single mother. So when
Mm.
he said, "You're not being a good mother," that triggered her underlying emotion of shame, which showed up as defensiveness.
Wow. Vicky, does that answer your question? Because I think that was your question. How important it is to know your triggers, and I mean, and that's one of the things that we really need to talk about, Aisha. And we don't have time to talk about that tonight, but understanding and identifying your triggers.
Yeah,
And Lynette said that so many people run from pain rather than allowing themselves to experience it and letting God and others help them. That is so true. But
yeah,
I'm glad to be introduced to this behavioral markers
yeah.
today, that comes across, as you said, as um, anger and
Defensiveness
defensiveness
and accommodation
and
and
accommodation.
rejection and isolation.
Okay, so Vicky, what is it that she didn't answer? You said sort of, not completely. Let me understand what you're trying to say while we'll continue the conversation. Her question was, how important is it to know your triggers? I, so Vicky, is there if there's something else that you would like for her to address? Of course, this is her area of her expertise. Good evening, Teresa. Thank you for joining from St. Petersburg, Florida. Yes. Um, Cassandra, knowing your triggers helps you to know and understand yourself.
Yeah.
Is that
And
right?
it helps you to help control your behavior and your emotions. Because again, when we talk about triggers, triggers are unresolved emotional issues. Right. It hits an unresolved emotional issue. And so if I'm triggered, it means it's something that you said or you did that's hitting something unresolved in me. And if I
Mm,
can't say, I know that this is a trigger for me, I'm going to avoid that. I know that this is a trigger. I know that this person is a trigger. I know that this situation is a trigger. This place is a trigger. Then how do you avoid it so that you can avoid behaviors that are not you? You cannot, good point. You cannot control your triggers, but you can control how you respond to them. And you
got it.
control how you respond to them by knowing what your triggers are. It's called a stress tolerance. I can't always distress tolerance. It is the ability to sit in uncomfortable situations without reacting negatively.
Ah,
Distress tolerance is the ability to sit in uncomfortable situations without reacting negatively.
mm,
And so I can't control anybody triggering me, but I can control. I feel it. When you get triggered, you feel it. You physically feel the agitation, the anger, the upset. Something goes off to make you know that you're triggered. If you had a gun in
mm,
your face and that person was getting ready to pull the trigger, you would feel it. You would have a physical response. right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we cannot control being triggered, but you can control how you respond to the trigger, which is why it's important for you to do some self evaluation and be self aware. Why am I this upset in this moment?
Mm.
Why is this bothering me? Why have I let this person, this place, this thing manage or control my emotions?
Mm-hmm. Wow. I hope that was. I mean, I've gotten some really good pointers here, some really good information, even for me. Distress tolerance and behavioral markers and triggers, and and what all of that represents, and what you say, great point, but very hard to do.
It is very hard to do. It is, and I still work on it. It's a task. It is a journey. It's not a destination.
Wow.
Like, it's
Wow.
going to take practice. It's going to take self-talk. It's going to take not overthinking. It's going to take you really taking the time to look back and say, why did I get upset in that moment? What made me so angry?
Wow. So it was so it sounds like to me it had so very little to do with the other person that did the triggering, but because it was already there lying dormant
Yeah.
in you somewhere, it's in us, we responded to that thing that triggered some kind of whatever that is that we had already in us. I
Yeah.
just, oh Lord. Work is the key, Lynette says. Cassandra says, yes. Triggers show you what you need to work on. Yes, it does. My goodness gracious. Aisha, listen, this is the last question. I want to know, who are some of your cheerleaders? We often talk about the people we got to just drop off because they can't go with us. You
Yeah.
know, Teresa says, before I get to that, it takes us being honest with ourselves about our own stuff.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, absolutely. And
It
that's what
takes
I
us
love.
being honest about ourselves. It takes us taking the time to have some objective introspection. Like, really spending some time with yourself and saying, it's easy for us to put it off on someone else. It's not so easy to say, this is a me thing. This is
Mm,
not a you thing. This is a me thing. This is on me.
wow. Yeah, Vicky, I think that's what I'll call it too. Pre-existing condition triggers. All right? Because they are already there. It's just
There
that
are,
somebody said something within a certain confinement of time, and it brought it up because it's already there.
yeah.
It ain't. Go ahead.
We have to be reconditioned.
Ooh.
We have been conditioned to believe certain things about ourselves, about
Ooh.
life, about relationships, about the world around us. We have to be reconditioned
Ooh.
again. And it is difficult to hear and understand, but you teach people how to treat you. If
Ooh.
you feel like you're not being appreciated, it's because you've not made people appreciate you. You've allowed people to be in your life and in your space and not have to ever appreciate you. And you continue to do things over and over and not ever tell someone, this is what I need. And so they never know that this is what you really need. So it's you. It's a you thing. You didn't teach that person how to appreciate you. You didn't teach that person how to love you. You didn't teach that person that you need to respect. You teach people how to treat you. And when you're tolerating things that are not serving you and you continue to tolerate them, you're showing that person that it's okay.
Wow. Jennifer said, thank you, Aisha.
You're welcome,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Listen, Jennifer is from Michigan. My last question to you, and we're going to close this out because my God, this has been so good to me. Who are some of your cheerleaders that that made you say, "My life is worth it"? Your
Yeah.
support staff, your whoever.
So I'm going to say my kids, right? My son, who has been there through this journey, who has seen a lot of the pain, who has been my motivator. Like I was 17 when I got pregnant. I had him at 18. Everything that I've done has been for him. Whether he was like go mom go, or it was me looking at him while I was up late at night studying. Because I need to be an example and not a statistic. And I
Mm.
remember when I opened Creating Me and I had a boys event, I didn't host it, but the guy asked, "Tell me something that you're proud of." And he said, "I'm proud of my mother following her heart and opening this business." And in that moment, everything that I've been through, everything that I sacrificed was all for it. Zane, even at his 15 years of life, is an
15
every
months.
15 months, right? Don't
That's
make
right,
it
girl. Not
old.
15 years.
Oh,
He
15 months. In his 15 months of life, every single day, he wakes up with a smile on his face. I can't even wake up sad or go through the day angry because I look at him and I say, first of all, God blessed me with this baby. And I just look at his face and I am reminded of God's promise. Like he is literally God's promise in a person. And so even when I don't feel like going to work, even when I don't feel like doing, I look at him and I see his smile and I have to keep going.
mm.
I have to keep going. I have family. I have really good friends. I have my spiritual mother. Uh, and they are all part of my story. They're all part of, and I've got my new friends like
Yeah.
Tamika and like 12 that I text them 2 minutes before, like, hey, can y'all log on?
Okay.
And I know that they're there cheering for me in the background, and I love them. So yeah, my kids, my family, my friends, my perfect strangers. You've been there for the past 13 years. I remember when I first started speaking, you was like, you better make people at least give you some gas money.
Girl, listen, the girl wouldn't even charge nothing. I was getting ready to become her manager. I said, "Oh yeah, no, no, no. We go we gonna have to get a little money, baby. This can't be free. You know, everything can't be for free. Cause
Yeah.
she'll give away the kitchen sink. Okay, Aisha would give away the kitchen sink. And I remember they were looking for somebody to do a speech. I think it was at Chicago State. There was something going on, a panel or something. And so I was talking to the folks. I said, "Look, I got somebody." I said, "But look, we gonna have to negotiate some pricing here." And we negotiated some pricing because I know people love for you to tell what you've done and all the things you've been through, but we don't want to also get played in our moments of whatever vulnerability. All
Yeah.
right. But Aisha, I want to announce my daughter all the way from Trinidad is on here with us tonight as well. Adele, thank you for joining in. Listen, Aisha, this has been so amazing to me. Um, Y'all, can I tell you all this? That I always looked at her as being a genius. And that's literally, she's a genius. And what she did not tell you all either was that she turned down an opportunity to go to Princeton University. She was just that smart, y'all. She was so. I'm just telling you, she's in my mind. She's just a go getter. But because of her son, and she talked about that, but she turned down that opportunity to go to Princeton University. She was accepted into Princeton. She's a smart woman. And Aisha, I love you. Teresa, we are unstrong tonight. I got my shirt. I got my book. I got my workbook. We are strong, but we are also unstrong. That's what Aisha was saying tonight. So Evangelist Taylor said, "Great job tonight, Aisha."
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So listen, if you all have enjoyed this, why don't you just let's give it up for Miss Aisha. Let's give it up for Miss Aisha. Come on, everybody, send up those hearts and likes, and let's just give it up for Miss Aisha. Well done, Aisha. She says she can you see that comment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I love you with her. She loved you with her whole heart. All right. Somebody feel the way I do. Yes. Thank you, Renice. Thank you, Bettina. Tamika. Thank you. Let's say Troban. Got me trying to pronounce something that ain't no word. It's just T. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining this edition of Women Who Rise to Soar. Listen, Yvette, I am so glad you came back. Yvette is in Mississippi. Thank you, Yvette. Oh my God, Cassandra, my really childhood friend, good friend from Jackson, Mississippi. Thank you so much for being here with us. Vicki Taylor, all the way from the west side of the city of Chicago. That's my good friend, my sister. She was one of the guests, the first one to get us out the gate. She enjoyed it. God bless you, Aisha, Miss Yvette says. So we are so Bonita's been trying to get on here, but I don't know what's going on with her connection. But she's been listening to the whole night, and she said, Aisha, that she really needed this talk tonight. She did share publicly that she's struggling to get off drugs. We want to pray for her. We want her to know, Bonita, that God loves you. Come to him just as you are, and he will in no wise cast you out. Yeah. Bettina, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Listen, God bless you all. And as I always say, may this day be the best day of your life. We still got a few more hours to go. And if you can make it the best day, make this the best day of your life. Aisha, don't you go nowhere tonight.
I didn't forget.
Don't you go nowhere tonight. Okay? Don't let me tell the story on you. All right. Good night, everybody. Listen, Cassandra, are you still on here? If you are, identify yourself. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Yes. Cassandra Washington, who's also a master social worker, and there in Jackson, Mississippi, and soon to be Dr. Washington. Yay! She has an event that's coming up on next weekend that you all don't want to miss. You do not want to miss that event. And I was intending to have the flyer to put up, but I will share it again on my page so that you all can take advantage of that opportunity. Yes. Your video and connection froze a couple times. I'm so sorry, Bettina, but thank you anyway for being up in here with us. Thank you so much. And so listen, join Cassandra Washington. She has a great group of women that are going to be empowering us. I think something is going on tomorrow evening at 7:00. And Cassandra, if you're still there, you can put that information out there so we can put the link in there so we can share the link. Yes. Yes, just put that information out there, okay? But listen, on next Friday night, next Thursday night, there's going to be a young woman that's going to come and talk to us about how God freed her from drugs. My God, how the Lord freed her from drug addiction. Didn't go to counseling, didn't go to where all the places you go. But on next Thursday, we're starting our Testimony Thursday nights, all right? Testimonial Thursdays. And she's going to come and share how the Lord delivered her from drugs on next Thursday night. Yes, and I would love for you to come. She's actually on this live, been on this live since we started tonight. So again, thank you all so much. We appreciate you. And as I say again, may this day be the best day of your life. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Please join us again. The mission of Dr. C. Rochelle Ministries is to uplift, motivate, encourage, and inspire others to live their best lives. Aisha, tell the people good night.
Good night. Thank you all so much for joining and supporting.